Hey, Stream Team. Today, fuck myself. Starting over. Hey, Stream Team. Today we're talking about marriage, and we're going to start that one over. Blah, 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 blah. We're going to get a real good tone here, a lot of B-roll, and we're just going to get you ready and in the mood.
I'm going to...
A lot of laughing.
Oh, okay.
All right,
I'm ready.
All right.
I'm ready.
Welcome to Balls Deep, a humorous yet informative medical show with a mission of optimizing your performance in the bedroom, the bathroom, and the boardroom. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Pazona, a board-certified urologist and CEO of Pazona MD. We hope you enjoy. Now, let's jump right in. Hey, Stream Team. Today we're talking marriage, and we are joined with someone who knows me better than anyone around. Catherine?
Hi,
Welcome.
I am Catherine, or Kat, Joe's wife of all of 4 years. We're rolling towards 5.
Yeah, we made it.
We made it thus far. And 4 years, headed to 5. We'll see.
So thought today we would let people in on our secrets and share behind the scenes about our marriage because, listen, if you're not on the same page with your partner emotionally, mentally, physically, that's going to impact your health. And, we think that couples that play together are healthy together and stay happy together.
Okay.
That work for you?
That works for me.
Plus, we're going to be revealing the one thing that completely changed our marriage, but you're going to have to stick around to find out what that is.
We will not protect the guilty or the innocent.
Well, you ready to dive right back in here, Catherine?
Let's do it.
Balls deep.
So, Catherine, why don't we let's just dive right into it. People see one side of me on this show. Tell everyone what I'm like at home. No holds barred. And I'm going to grab a drink here because I'm curious as to what you say.
Do we have enough time for this while I unload all of your secrets? No, kidding. Number one, you are very, very focused on your health, and there is so much health in our house. A lot of time there's so much health, I am exhausted. But generally, it is a good thing. But you do even walk in the rain. You are constantly making a plan for your movement, constantly making a plan for your eating. There's a lot of eating. I don't come from a family of people who just constantly eat. In fact, we're weirdly in the other direction. So this has been new for me. He plans his days and his weeks truly kind of around. He does a lot of meal planning and exercise, and you keep yourself moving constantly, which is good. And I have taken a good bit of a lesson from that. I get up and move more often with you.
Well, and I think that brings us to our first big secret for couples is that, couples who work out together stay together. I think we've both been with people in previous relationships where, there's that sort of mismatch. Mm-hmm. And I hear this from patients where there's, one person's motivated and the other isn't. And so they get frustrated with the person who's a little bit more of the couch potato. And then maybe the person who doesn't work out quite as much looks at the other person as a lunatic, for lack of a better term.
Right.
Like, God, you're going to the gym again? Like, when do I get to go have fun? And there's a guilt associated with
right.
that. And that although we do find moments to do things together, we also give each other space such that you've got your sort of training and workout routine. Mm-hmm. For the record, I can't keep up with her at all.
He cannot. And I was going to clarify the fact that he doesn't really work out with me because he can't. He wouldn't make it. I try to get him to come into the gym with me and do my exercise routine. And guys, he's just not strong enough. He is not there yet. He has high hopes and he's trying. But we do make time for each of us to do our own thing. And we do find things that we can do together. We do some hiking together, mm-hmm. which I will admit is not my absolute favorite thing, but I do enjoy the time it gives us to visit and talk.
You do like visiting.
I love visiting.
Absolutely.
Love visiting. We do, on the occasion, play some tennis together. And when I say play tennis, I hit a ball with a racket. I'm not sure I'd call it tennis.
No one needs to know all these details, sweetheart.
But we do find activities that we
do.
enjoy doing together. And then we make time for you to get your workout in. I allow you to get that and cover things at home. And you do the same for me so that I can have the time to do my workout and you cover kids or home things that need to happen. So we each get those moments.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the reason we do that is it comes down to, why is this important? Well, first off, there's data saying that this leads to happier relationships. I mean, you think about sharing activities of any sort together, and you're going to have happier couples. Number two, it feels good to kind of have someone who's pushing you up always and have those goals, and that although we might have a little different cadence or preference with some of these workouts, right. It's nice to have that person who's in your corner. And too often, I think couples, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, assume the role of just parent and caregiver instead of supporter and best friend. And then lastly, working out isn't just about walking in the rain. You feel good. You lift some weights, that testosterone gets boosted, you get a little frisky, and it leads to better intimacy in the bedroom. And that is a key thing of physical activity that is really important. We're going to get into intimacy later, but if you're both working out and feeling good about yourself and your bodies, you're going to want to, share that intimacy a little bit more.
I think for men, definitely the point you just made about getting a little frisky, that definitely is going to resonate with guys. For women, I think one thing for me especially, a consistent workout routine helps me sleep better. And I noticed that if we're off of that workout routine for women, I mean, how important is sleep to us? Because I feel like as the caregivers, often we are constantly at a deficit with sleep. And the working out, I feel, really helps me sleep better.
Well, and no sleep equals no nookie. So needless
you
to
got
say,
that right. Forget it. Forget it, friend.
So why don't we move on to the next marriage secret, communication.
Well, this is super important. I think the biggest marriage secret is not having any secrets. Okay, except for a lot of things you don't know about my past dating life and parties I went to and a lot of crazy stuff I did. And I don't know, maybe secrets are really good. Maybe we do need some secrets. Just kidding. But
and I know about all this, people. There's some other key details she left out here.
He does not at all. Never give away all of your secrets. But communication is key.
Yeah, I agree. And that's something I'm always trying to get better at. As a man, we tend to just we just keep everything in and we just
shut it down.
We shut it down and we just keep pushing those emotions
and
down.
We keep talking as women. We talk a lot and you guys shut down and it can be a real mismatch.
So what do you think men need to do to be better communicators ultimately, Catherine? I mean, it's very easy to say to talk more, but if our default state is to suppress it, what's a way that either something you've seen from me or you've seen in other men and or talking to your girlfriends, what can men do? What's an actionable thing that they can do to improve this?
From the woman's perspective, I think simply listening and the active listening goes a long way. Sometimes we simply want to be heard. We're not necessarily looking for an answer or commentary. We are simply wanting someone to sit and listen and acknowledge what we're saying, which I think men often want to give us an answer supply, a plan, give some kind of commentary, but I think so much more for women, it is the act of being acknowledged. We just want to share something at some point and have you listen and hear us.
I can definitely resonate with that. That's something I've always struggled with because my brain goes to problem-solving mode.
But I think most men do. You go to problem-solving mode, and mostly what we want is for someone to simply sit with us and pay attention and listen to what we have to say.
Just shut up and listen.
And shut up.
So what would you say at this point is our biggest communication challenge? What do you think that is hard for us? Because, but we have issues like
putting
everyone.
me on the spot.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, our communication is really good, I think, but there's certainly ways that we struggle. I have a real passive aggressive manner, which is something that my family has kind of a passive aggressive way. And so a lot of times I will not say it. You know, if something's bothering me, I take the let me just let it go and try to move on at all the while something's burning and festering. And then if I finally kind of grab the courage and say, no, okay, hon, I need to say this to you. You need to hear this. It goes so much better from there. I think a lot of times we just don't say things that it's okay to say, even if it's something that might be perceived as not negative, but something you prickly. It's prickly.
Yeah.
You know, it might elicit a response that isn't, oh, well, that's wonderful. So, but it's important to say those things. It's important to have the open communication to be able to say the hard things, the things that aren't easy. Because when we do share those things, usually the other side is kind of a feeling of, whew, okay, I got that off my chest and now we can work through it and it's kind of okay.
Yeah, I think that resonates with me because I was very passive aggressive when I was younger too, based on my upbringing. And so I think entering into a relationship as we both did with each other later in life, I finally got to a point where it's like, I'm tired of this bullshit, for lack of a better term.
It's not worth it.
I'm just going to speak my mind and not going to do it in a mean way, but like, this is what I need or want. And if we can't work through it, then so be it. But most of the time, like you said, it's not that big of a deal.
It's not that big a deal on the other side. I think we also spend a good bit of time, you and I kind of sit down on a Sunday afternoon. We've started this semi recently. We check in. We talk about the week coming up. I mean, it's not a long session. We just sit down at the kitchen table and talk about what's going to happen. Sometimes we go through some finances. We kind of talk it through, and it's a nice little moment of getting on the same page for the week coming up.
Yeah, I think that's been a huge change for our marriage, or these weekly check-ins where, you kind of do it throughout the week in I think most relationships, but really carving out time and getting intentional, I think has been a big difference. So, well, let's talk about sex, baby.
Oh, okay. I'd like to remind everyone that I was actually a Southern debutante, and I'm not sure that this is appropriate for me to discuss on camera. He's not going to let it go.
It's called Balls Deep. We're moving to sex. Let's go.
Dad, don't listen to any of this, please.
So where do you want to start, Catherine?
Well, I don't know. This is your favorite part. What do you want to start with?
Well, so let's talk about first, in the idea of looking at it from a couple and a longer term relationship, because it's easy to talk about sex in either a very clinical way or not. So
we're not talking about one night stands at the bar. This is not it.
This is probably not going to help many marriages.
Okay.
So let's talk first about sort of sexual health and intimacy. And, I don't think enough people realize how many urologic conditions end up really affecting, the performance in the bedroom. And so I see a lot of, from the male perspective, I see a lot of guys come in with some degree of erectile dysfunction, premature ejaculation, maybe their libido's not what it used to be from low testosterone. And their female partner in a lot of cases takes that as an affront to them. They think, oh, you're not attracted to me anymore.
Right.
And so I find very often I'm almost playing armchair therapist to the guy, and often his partner's not there to even help do that counseling session. So I'm almost there reassuring the guy that like, hey, no, this is normal physiologic stuff that just happens. I can fix it. But it doesn't mean you don't love your partner. So I think it's important for women to hear that a lot of the sexual dysfunction issues that guys have don't have anything to do with your relationship or your love for your wife. And probably the same can be said for women,
I was
right?
just going to say, I think the same can be said for women. Men and women are so very different. We're just built and wired differently. And for women, we are governed so much by emotion and what's going on in our minds. And I think when we're preoccupied, when we're tired, when we're stressed, not that men, I think, also are affected by those things, but especially women, tired, stressed, emotionally disconnected, the last thing we're interested in is getting busy in the bedroom.
Well, and you brought up some great points.
And it's not necessarily because we don't love our husband or
Oh,
our partner.
absolutely. But you brought up a couple great points. So, number one, hormone changes. We've talked about on this show before about how women go through perimenopause, menopause, and that ultimately leads to changes that affect vaginal health, vaginal dryness, sensation. Sex just doesn't feel good. So then libido goes down. So
Right.
there's actual physiologic things that we can help with. And then second, the relation between stress and sexual wellness, not only the acute stress of like, boy, sex is the last thing on my mind because of all my things going on in my head, but stress is killing us. It's leading to heart attacks and strokes and all these diseases. And I don't think we realize the effect of the chronic stress. Yes, in that moment, you may not be up for having fun in the bedroom, but when that happens day after day after day, you're impacting your longevity. So, there's definitely a big connection there.
I think men are more inclined, if there is an erectile dysfunction issue, to see their doctor. I think it's possible that women are less inclined to see a doctor because they're stressed, tired, their libido is low. But I would encourage women, it's just as important to seek some medical intervention for some of these urological issues.
Yeah, I mean, you did several great episodes where we talked about this, and there's a lack of awareness amongst women.
There's a very big lack of awareness.
That help exists and that it's okay to go get that help.
Absolutely.
So, well, Catherine, let's wrap the show up at this point in time. So what do you think is the one thing that really made a difference in our marriage entirely? What is that seminal thing that we've done that you'd say really took it to the next level?
I think it's that finding that time, carving out that specific time to get on the same page together. I think if you're not on the same page, if you can't find some time to do some activities together, if you can't make some time simply for each other that doesn't necessarily involve kids. Most people, have children and are managing, this family and work balance. But we talked about this the other day. I think something is really important. Just because you are parents does not mean you are no longer partners and spouses. And I think often, as important as it is to be a parent, you're a better parent when you also have an intimate, strong relationship separate from your children with your partner.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more in that, we've got 3 wonderful kids at home of varying stages of life, and that life can be quite busy when they're in the house, but we don't ever sacrifice us. And it doesn't need to be that we're telling the kids to F off and they're cooking their own dinner and we ignore them, right?
No.
I mean,
it'd be great if they cooked their own dinner, but not ignoring them, no.
It's the little things, right? It's the things any parents, any couple can do with kids where you just set aside 10 minutes to have that weekly check-in. It's setting up that date night where it's just the two of you. It's going for a walk together. It's doing those daily routine activities together. I think when we really made sure that those were non-negotiables in our relationship, it removed us from like, well, you're someone who either creates work for me or takes work off my plate, and turned it more into, wait a minute. We love each other. We have fun together.
We like to be together.
I don't think we've ever stopped dating, and I think for a lot of couples, they stop dating.
And I think I've heard a lot of women talk about it as sort of the roommate syndrome. At some point, you are less focused on this marriage and you become roommates and partners in child rearing, which is incredible. But I think if you lose the marriage part and the fun and the dating, it's not so good.
Nope. Well, friend, let's wrap the show up. Sound
All right,
good?
wrapping it up.
All right. Well, Stream Team, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. Would love for you to drop a comment and hit that little subscribe button down at the bottom. It really means a lot for you to follow our show and spread the good word about what we're doing. So until next time, show yourself a little bit more love and kindness. We're all works in progress, and these are opportunities to grow. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Balls Deep. If you'd like to join our stream team of listeners, please click the subscribe button on your favorite podcast platform. For more information about our practice, Pazona MD, please visit pazonamd.com. This podcast is for informational purposes only, and the content is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice. The show does not constitute the practice of medicine. No doctor-patient relationship is formed through this podcast or any of the social media channels related to this show. The use of this information is at the user's own risk. Users should not disregard or delay in obtaining medical advice from any medical condition they have, and they should seek the assistance of their healthcare professionals for any such conditions.